Greetings once more, dear friends. Fanatical Dragon back once again. So just this week, Shout Factory announced 2 more releases in their new Hong Kong Cinema Classics line. They're going to be doing Gamblers and Gangsters, a box set of kind of contemporary crime movies, and they're going to be doing a Chinese ghost story trilogy coming later this year. So I thought it was a good time to just basically take stock of where we're at just now. I'm seeing a huge amount of misinformation, of basically people very confused about really what's going on over at Shout with these Hong Kong titles, the Cinema City ones. And as they're numbering these spines, and we're already up to number 16, I thought it was a good time to basically just take stock of where we're at, go through the various releases, explain the sort of situation, look at the box sets, look at the artwork, and all that sort of good stuff. So if you already know all this, then I'm sorry, this video probably not for you, but if you're still a bit confused about what's going on, then start here. So going way back to January in 2025, Shout made an announcement that they'd picked up all of the Cinema City titles from Hong Kong, which were long thought locked up in kind of copyright battle with the rights owners refusing to basically let any one individual movie out. You can watch the full information about that. I did a great interview with Frank Zhang last year speaking about why we thought it was never going to happen, and then we sat down again in June of this year to kind of basically say how surprised we all were that Shout Factory had managed to kind of get the whole shebang, get all 156 Cinema City and Golden Princess titles, which obviously includes John Woo's biggest Hong Kong movies. So Shout made their initial announcement back in January of 2025. We're now in August 2025 and we're just starting to see the first physical media releases dropping. If we go back to spine number 1, they put out a Jet Li box set which had 5 titles, all in 4K and all not part of the Cinema City deal. So all these movies kind of came from other sources, had previously all had releases from 88 Films in the UK, but spine numbers 1 to 5 gave you A Legend of Fong Sai-yuk 1 and 2, gave you Tai Chi Master, gave you Fist of Legend, and gave you The Bodyguard from Beijing. Now I want to keep this video relatively short, so I'm not going to go into all the extra features on those, but I'll stick them up on screen while I'm talking, and you can check out the box set over on the Shout website if you're interested in it. So the first of the actual Cinema City titles is going to be coming in as spine number 6, which is City on Fire. Comes out later this month. It's a Ringo Lam movie starring Chow Yun-fat, an absolutely phenomenal crime drama. Supposedly the inspiration for Reservoir Dogs, though to be honest I always thought The Thing was more the inspiration for Reservoir Dogs than City on Fire was, but it's an incredible movie. Danny Lee and Chow Yun-fat going toe to toe again as they did previously in The Killer, and this new release is the first 4K of the Cinema City titles that we're seeing coming from Shout. Looks really pretty damn cool. The cover art is just the original Hong Kong poster, and I'm going to get a bit more into cover art as we get further into this, so hold that thought for just now. And again on screen you can see the various extras they put together for it. We're getting commentary from Frank Zhang joined by FJ DeSanto, and a bunch of newly created interviews and little documentaries that they've put together for the disc. Looks like a pretty great release. Amazing that we're finally kind of getting to see this in a new 4K transfer. Haven't seen the City on Fire transfer, but I have seen the new Hard Boiled transfer, which looks absolutely glorious, so suspect City on Fire is going to look pretty damn good too. Spine number 7 is going to be Peking Opera Blues, which is due to drop at the end of September. Directed by Choi Hawk, he who directed the Once Upon a Time in China series. He's centering on 3 girls involved and close to the Peking Opera School in the aftermath of China's first democratic revolution. Pretty great movie, and again we're getting a 4K release of this. New commentary by James Mudge. Again, the artwork for this for the physical media release looks like it's the original poster art, which is a bit of a shame because at the same time as they're doing these physical media releases, they've also been putting these movies back into cinemas in collaboration with G-Kids. Certainly if you're living in the States, you get a chance to see a bunch of these movies on the big screen, and they got the one and only Tony Stella to do the posters for all the cinema releases. That does not seem to be the case for the physical media releases, sadly. So there's a beautiful poster art made by Tony for Peking Opera Blues, but we're just getting the standard original Hong Kong poster on the slipcase, and I think exactly the same on the inside of the box as well, which is a bit of a shame. But both of these titles have not had a Blu-ray release outside of Asia, so this is their kind of first English-friendly releases in the UK or the US. Arrow have done a deal. That's the other thing that people seem very confused about. People are kind of confused why Arrow haven't started putting out these titles already. You've got to remember that Shout made the initial announcement in January. We're now in August and seeing their first releases. Arrow made their announcement of doing the deal in May 2025, so they're about 4 months behind, and Arrow do not move as fast as Shout, so I wouldn't expect to see any of these titles coming from Arrow until well into 2026. So don't hold your breath if you're expecting them to drop any moment now from Arrow. I think you're going to be waiting a little bit of time. So we jump onto the first of the 2 newly announced box sets. This is Hong Kong Gamblers and Gangsters, representing spine numbers 8 to 13, and there's a bunch of movies. These are not 4Ks, these are just regular Blu-rays, so I suspect they will be new restorations, but we're getting Casino Tycoon and Casino Tycoon number 2. We're getting Challenge of the Game posters. We're getting Destiny's Champion, we're getting Godfather from Canton, we're getting Johnny Toe's Loving You, and that is the box. A bit of a strange mix of movies. Cover art for this one has been done by Puchamin, who has done quite a bit of stuff over the last couple of years for Vinegar Syndrome as well. These movies, I don't think we're getting cinema screenings, so no Tony Stella art for these. Bit of an unusual set to kind of kick things off with, but they've got a lot of titles to kind of get through, so it's not too surprising that they're kind of starting with the ones that are maybe not the heaviest hitters first. Extra features wise, looks like they've put together a pretty good mix of stuff. Brand new commentaries for all the movies on Casino Tycoon 1 and 2 from David West, on Challenge of the Gamesters from James Mudge, Destiny's Champion is also James Mudge, as is Godfather from Canton, and I think James Mudge also doing Loving You as well. Bunch of new interviews as well for this set. Not one that I'm expecting as many people are going to be running out as for the next one, which is going to be Spines number 14 to 16, and that is a Chinese ghost story. Choi Hark's incredible trilogy of movies starring Leslie Cheung, and these ones a bit of a no-brainer. Bit weird that we're not getting a 4K release of them. I don't know if Arrow's going to rectify that when Arrow does the release in the UK. This is just a regular Blu-ray release, so they are brand new 4K scans apparently. And again, a bunch of new extras. We're getting a feature-length documentary on Leslie Cheung called The Leslie Cheung Story, audio commentary on the first movie by James Mudge, and on the second movie, and on the third movie. So James Mudge has been kept very, very busy by this new deal, getting interviews with Grady Hendrix across, again, all three movies, and a bunch of theatrical trailers, interview with the composer James Wong, interview with the martial arts director Yun Bun, and a bunch of other bits and pieces too. Now, the cover art for this one has been done by Chris Malbon, who, if you're familiar with Arrow's work in the UK, he did their V Cinema box set recently, done a bunch of work for Eureka. He did the Shaw Brothers release of Ode to Gallantry, Legend of the Eight Samurai, and Fall of Akko Castle. Pretty big fan of his work, but unlike the Gamblers and Gangsters box set, we did get a cinematic release, or we are getting a cinematic release of a Chinese ghost story in the US, so they're beautiful, beautiful Tony Stella posters. I kind of had hoped that they were going to lean this way for the physical media releases, because Tony's work I'm massively biased towards. Tony's been a great friend to my channel, and I'm a huge, huge fan of his work, and I think his posters that he's made for all the movies that I've seen so far look absolutely spectacular. So a bit of a shame that we're not seeing his work onto the physical media releases. Doesn't look like inside of the outer box we're going to get Tony's artwork on the individual films. I suspect it's going to be the original Hong Kong posters on the individual boxes inside, and then we're getting Chris Malbon's work on the outside. So I think that's the thing that I've seen a few folks railing back against so far, wondering if it's better to kind of bide their time and wait for Arrow to put out the box set so they can kind of get a different chance of some slightly different artwork. The release dates for these is looking like being into October for Chinese Ghost Story. The Gamblers box set is looking like being September. So end of September for Gamblers and Gangsters, end of October for Chinese Ghost Story. And then we'll see, we might maybe get Hard Boiled in time for Christmas. So the new 4K transfer is available digitally. I think you can kind of get that through the iTunes store. Somebody said it was up on Mubi as well if you're in the US. Here in the UK, I think we're going to have to wait a little bit longer. I don't think it's showing up on the UK iTunes store yet. The new transfer looks absolutely glorious, and I think for anybody who's biding their time, swithering on whether or not to get these because they're waiting for the Arrow releases, you're going to be waiting a little bit longer. Like I say, it's going to be well into 2026. That's it. I think this video has rambled on long enough. Exciting times, but I think Shout, a bit of a funny one to have picked this up. Shout have a tendency to go hell-bent for leather. The speed with which they've been releasing their Shaw Brothers Classics box sets is alarming, really. It's hard for anyone's wallet to kind of keep up. So I know they're going to go pedal to the metal with kind of their release schedule. I wouldn't expect Arrow to go quite as fast, and it's going to be interesting to kind of see what else Shout have up their sleeves, because I'm sure they will have releases planned for November and December, and when I hear what they are, I will do an updated video. But that's it. That's where we're at just now. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end of this and you're not already subscribed to the channel, do please consider doing so. I think only about 60% of the people watching the vids are subscribed, and it really does help me out a huge amount. Still a tiny little channel. Would love to try and see if I can break that 5k mark by the end of the year. Still a long way to go before we get there. I will see you on the next vid very, very soon. Take care.